What's up, you guys? My name's Noah. I make music as Haterade here for Sonic Academy. So if you're like me and you've been making music for a long period of time, you'll know that your motivation starts to run out at times. Making music is hard and it's a grind to get better at, and especially if you really want to take it somewhere, it can really feel daunting and really weigh on you. So today I wanted to share some tips that I've accumulated over the years with you guys and basically help you guys refine that motivation for yourselves. I've been making music for over 14 years now. I've started when I was just 13 years old, and I do this for a living now. This is something I do to make money. So I know really intimately how tough it is to keep motivated. So the first tip that I have for you guys is to remember why you started making music in the first place. I know it sounds cliche, like, oh, find your why, but it really is important because you started making music because it's fun, right? You started making music because you had a great time doing it. It gave you a really good feeling to finish the song. Try to reconnect with that. Try to take a step back from all the other stuff that's supposed to come after you finish a song, like touring or lots of likes and plays or your Spotify monthly listeners or whatever it is, and just focus on refinding that joy in making music again, because that's why you got into it. And if you can really reconnect with that, it'll give you that extra juice that you need to get back in the studio. And I think it's really important too, especially if this becomes your job, to practice building that at the beginning, because it only gets harder the deeper you get into making music. Tip number 2 that I have is connecting with other musicians or other producers in real life. Connecting with online communities is great too. And if maybe you're more of an introvert and that's sort of your lane, that go for it. But I've found personally that connecting with music producers in real life really helps. It just helps get me back in that mindset of working. When I was coming up in my city where I lived in San Diego, I really benefited from connecting with the local DJ scene. That was how I learned a lot of new techniques, getting in the studio with other people and seeing what other people are working on too. It really puts everything into perspective and helps you, let's say for example, you were listening to one of your friend's EPs. He was like showing you, oh, I got all these new tunes I want to show you. And you're listening to him like, man, these are really good. It usually gets, at least for me, it got me motivated to go back in the studio like, man, these songs really are good. I want to try to make some for myself. So just getting that network together too is really great. Whenever somebody has a big win too, if you guys came up together, you get to share that win with your friends. That sense of community really helps keep you motivated and wanting to produce more music. Tip number 3 I have is take some time away from the studio and go out into the real world and get inspired. I think as producers, we get tunnel vision a little bit where it's just us and our computer. We just focus on that, and that's just where we are. That's where our headspace is at. And that's great. We need to spend most of our time making music. That's the whole point. But without context and getting new experiences and trying new things, and it doesn't even have to be music related too. I mean, obviously going to live shows is a great way to get inspired because you hear a bunch of brand new music from other people. But going out for a hike or go to a movie or go to an art festival or even just going to hang out with a bunch of your friends, you can have these new life experiences and draw those into the studio. And that a lot of times you'll get an idea when you're out having this non-music related experience that go, wow, I could use that in the studio. I could make a song about this. And boom, you're already motivated to get back in the studio. Tip number 4 I have is investing in new practices and techniques and getting a mentor. A lot of producers that I work with, that I teach, benefit from that regular meeting every week. It just keeps them on task. But having somebody to bounce ideas off of is really beneficial. I mean, I had many mentors coming up, just people I could talk to and share my tracks with, and just sort of tap into the experience that other people have had before me and really ask them to share that with me so I can apply it to my life. And that usually gave me a little bit more confidence because there's so much that you just don't know when you're making music. There's I always say this, there's the bit that you know, there's the bit that you know that you don't know, and then there's the rest, the stuff that you don't even know that you don't know. There's a lot of that. You just want to keep expanding those circles, and tapping into other people who are way more experienced than you is a great way to do that. And if you can't afford a mentor, tapping into that group, that local group of musicians, is a great way to do that too. And obviously Sonic Academy, you're here right now. You're already investing in your learning just being here. I mean, we have thousands and thousands of hours on sonicacademy.com of just all the production techniques that you could think of, from tons of world-class instructors. So you're already doing that here. I mean, that's half the battle right there. Watching a good video on a new technique that you're trying to learn and then applying it usually gets me a little bit motivated to get in the studio and finish that song. The last one is probably the most important, and it's less about getting motivated and reigniting your motivation and more about not getting demotivated. I think the biggest thing that takes the wind out of my sails when it comes to production is comparing myself to other people. When I compare myself to somebody who's ahead of me, then I usually feel deflated, like, oh man, I've been working so hard. I'll never get to this point. I'll never get to where this so-and-so is at in their music. Or just feeling like you're just never catching up. It's really important that you know, while you want to strive to get better, it's more important to look back. Look back at what you did. Look back at the tracks that you made 3 or 4 months ago, or maybe even a year ago. Listen to how much you've improved. Usually when you can do that, you can reframe what you've done in the past and then look at all the techniques that you learned. You're like, wow, I've really progressed. I wonder how much further I can progress. Having that mindset is so important for any artist in general, because it's a number one, it's a fair comparison, because if you always compare to somebody who's ahead of you, you'll never get there. You know, eventually you'll catch up to them, but by the time you catch up to them, you'll already be looking ahead at the next person going, man, I'm not as good as producer fill in the blank. So really focus on comparing to your last work. And I mean, sometimes going back through and listening to your old stuff and cringing a little bit, like, oh man, I can't believe I thought that was good when I was making it. Didn't know that you'll probably feel that way about your songs that you're making now, but that's only because you're gonna get better. If you just keep on it, apply all these techniques and stay motivated and get in the studio. So thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you guys got something out of this. If you did, be sure to hit like and subscribe to Sonic Academy on YouTube, and make sure to check out sonicacademy.com. If you're not already a member, we have tons and tons of great videos, thousands of hours of content from world-class instructors. Go check it out. There's definitely something for you on there. Thanks for watching.